Backstage with Mothership on Solid Rock Radio begins now. Hear the best in new music, artist interviews, stories from the road, and more. You are now backstage, and here's your host, Mothership.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining me this week. My guests today are Dawn Michele and Glenn Drennen of Fireflight. I was curious to find out more about the new two-part album and hear more about the new video release. I hope you enjoy the call. Dawn and Glenn from Fireflight, how are y'all doing?
Oh, doing good.
Good.
How are you
Thank
doing?
you so much.
Busy, and I'm sure you are too.
Being a band mom to all those bands out there, hopefully they get back out there on the road soon.
I know. I'm missing everybody so bad.
It's crazy times.
It really is.
Yeah.
Tell me how you guys got back together after a little hiatus.
Oh man. So I guess we haven't put out a record in about 5 years. We haven't toured in about 5 years. We played maybe a handful of shows in that time, and we put out a couple of singles back in 2018. Speaking for myself personally, it was just kind of one of those things where it was very, very necessary. I was feeling extremely burnt out. I could tell some of the others were feeling very burnt out. Just a strange time for music, for Christian music. We're all starting to have families. We're all starting to kind of look in other directions as far as things that we want to get into and do. And so we decided to just kind of take a break. And I feel like it wasn't until maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago that I personally, and just reaching out to Dawn and Wendy and Justin and just kind of getting their pulse on everything as far as just really being excited about writing new music and recording new music, which is for us has been, it's been a while since I've felt really excited. When it's your job, you write and record records because you have to pay the bills, because you have to keep something going, because you have to tour something. But this record wasn't that. This record was, we really, really, really wanted to make a record.
In looking at the album, I see that there was a message you were trying to get out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think for us, just every album, we just try to be as authentic as possible, whether it's stuff that we're going through or whether it's stuff that we hear from fans. We feel like everybody kind of deals with stuff in the same way. You know, when we write, that's just kind of what comes out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Whose idea was it to get back together?
I think that we had kind of a unique opportunity. We had come back together and writing songs for a little while, and we put out a couple of singles. And I had been working on a worship project and releasing a worship CD. And I was talking to Glenn about what was going on with the worship album. It was kind of crazy because I did a crowdfund for it. And then the company who was well known for crowdfunding online actually went under and took everybody's money with them. And it was a tumultuous time. And I was talking to Glenn about trying to find support to get the record out, and he was talking to me about Joseph's project, which is Rockfest Records and Burtonwood Records, and Joseph from Seventh Day Slumber was starting and developing an artist run label, and he was asking, have you thought about talking to Joseph about this? And I was like, was kind of thinking about that. And he said, I've actually been thinking maybe we should talk to Joseph about Fireflight. And I was like, well, that's a really cool idea. And we ended up both kind of pursuing that on both fronts, and the opportunity presented itself for us to release another album with the support of a label, but not traditional label where in the past where you kind of have a big machine pushing timelines and agendas on you, but actually have your friends there to support you in creating an album. And as we began those talks and everything, it became clear that this would be a neat avenue for us to take to make more music and have the support of a label and not have to do crowdfunding, but also still have so much artistic freedom and be able to just kind of grow this project on our own timeline. So that really grew into where we are now, which we took a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of writing and a lot of passion and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears over a couple of years here. And now we have, who we are, the head and the heart.
Now, was Justin in on that, or did you bring him in after you'd already made this decision to go with Rockfest?
We actually had conversations with him very early on. Joseph knew that when he was signing the band to a deal just for this album that it was going to be the original lineup with Justin. So yeah, Justin was a part of the writing and recording as well. It felt so great just to have everybody back in to do the writing and recording and the video and all of that stuff.
And I want to talk about the video, but I just want to say that when I saw all of you just a couple of years older.
Yeah.
I just had
Why are
the
you
biggest,
talking about Dawn
before I
like
even
that?
heard the music, I had the biggest grin on my face looking at you guys. I'm like going, there they are,
Yeah.
It's like old friends having you guys back. It was great.
Still
Yeah,
hanging in there.
Yeah, tell people when they they ask about the video, man, you guys are still rocking, you guys are still doing it. I'm like, man, you didn't see us in between takes on that video. It was rough.
It's all a facade.
Yeah.
Well, I love your hair.
Oh, thank you. It's
So cute.
funny. It's something that I just randomly decided to do actually like a couple weeks before the pandemic hit. But it's been great though. Realized I'd had like the same haircut for like 8 years or something like that. And I was like, wow, this is a little ridiculous.
We do get kind of stuck, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. And I just
Well, it
seen a
suits
girl.
you.
Well, thank you. I saw a girl with it and I thought, man, I love her hair. And I was like, I'm going to get that hair. And I just did it like a week later because I knew if I waited, I wouldn't be brave enough to do it. But it's awesome. It's so much easier to maintain and it's fun and it's something new that I haven't had in a long time.
Kind of sassy.
There you go.
Let's talk about the video, Who We Are. Tell me a little bit about that because that is so good.
Well, we had the cool opportunity to work with Joel Burris on the video. It was kind of wild. I didn't know what to expect. We did have to work under the constraints of the pandemic when we were making this video. We had kind of limited space. And so I really didn't know how it was going to turn out. Each of us shot our scenes separately from each other in a room that wasn't that big. And then the editing comes back and I was like, holy moly, this is incredible. I could not believe what he had done. We're all together. It looks like we're in the same room and the laws of physics have been suspended. Man, when we watched those first shots that were coming in, I was like, this is amazing. I was blown away and I was there when they were making it. So I was like, this is awesome. And I couldn't wait for other people to see it.
Well, Joel is really good at what he does. He's put the Grizzly Awards together last year. We had the whole thing planned with, live performances and everything, and he had to pull that thing together online, and boy, man, what a good job he did.
It was great. I watched the whole thing. It was fantastic. You guys did an excellent job with that.
Well, we sure did have a lot of fun. We're gearing up for this year.
Awesome.
Tell me about the new album. I know it's going to have 2 parts to it. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like an interesting little thing that we wanted to try out just to have fun with. In titling the album Who We Are, based off the lead single, we all have 2 parts to who we are, so to speak. We have our head, we have our thought life, and we have our heart. We have emotional/spiritual life. If any one of those things is out of sync, then we're going to be out of sync. Our thought life and our heart and our spiritual life and our emotional life, all of those things have to be in sync. Obviously, with us being believers, our thought life and our spiritual life all have to be in sync with our Creator and with what we believe and what we say and what we do and how we act. Just kind of in a nutshell synopsis of the thought behind splitting it up. And hopefully the tracks that are on each one of those kind of convey those types of feelings as well.
How was it working with Josiah Prince?
He's a nerd. I'm just kidding. No, I'm totally kidding. Josiah is amazing. It's literally like just hanging out with your best friend all day, just making music. We released 2 singles in 2018. We did those with him as well. It's like we've been writing with him for the better part of 3 years now, with walking through this project as well. So when we decided that we wanted to do a new record, we talked about some other names, but really there was really only one name that was on that list for us to walk through this. And he was so excited to do it with us. So yeah. I mean, I can't say enough great things about Josiah personally.
Yeah, I love Josiah.
He's a genius.
What's the difference between working with Rockfest Records and working with some of the other labels you've worked with?
There's not even a comparison, really. And honestly, I think some of it too is Joseph understands the maturity of the band. I mean, we were signed to another label a long time ago, coming up through the ranks. We're a new artist, and then when you get to a certain platform as an artist, you need a lot of help to kind of stay there from a label. And then, music takes a turn and the label doesn't really know what to do with you anymore. Whereas with Rockfest, we're a mature artist coming in, and Joseph basically is like, look, I know who you guys are, and I know what kind of an artist you guys are, and I know what kind of hearts you guys have. So you guys make the record that you want to make. And Rockfest Records were pretty much just hands off. They just said, hey, just let us know when we need to jump in, and we'll be there. And that's exactly what they did. They never pushed for anything from us. They very rarely even asked us questions about what was going on. They were very, very gracious in allowing us every bit of time that we wanted to make the record.
Well, then that you work at your own pace. Grown-ups, hey.
Yeah. Right.
Backstage with Mothership returns after this. Outperformance Shop is a proud supporter of Solid Rock Radio. They specialize in retail and wholesale of automotive, high-performance, racing, and off-road products. They also carry a variety of accessories from remote control cars to rock and roller multi-carts. On the web at outperformance.com. Check us out on Facebook at I'm with Mothership.
Fireflight has been nominated for multiple Dove Awards and even a Grammy. So what kind of expectations do you have for this new album?
Honestly, I think we're kind of to the point in our careers where we are okay with whatever happens. And
that's great.
And that's not like a lazy thing or a like we don't care thing. We've been very, very blessed throughout the 20 years of our career to do a lot of really great things. I feel like there's a certain point that you get into in life where you just like, I am entirely content to just be faithful, at least try to be faithful, and to follow the Spirit's promptings, to do whatever it is that we are able to do. And wherever the chips fall, that's where they fall. And our prayer has been through this whole process of writing and recording this record, God, please just let whoever needs to hear it, hear it. And I know that that's really hard sometimes when it is your bread and butter. It is your time slot at certain stages on certain festivals. It is your number ones at radio. It is your record sales and all of those things. And all of those things are fantastic. But it's really, really awesome to be able to be at the point where you can honestly say it's okay, whatever happens.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Watching you guys as musicianaries, meeting the fans, reaching out to the fans, and changing people's lives. And it's such a thankless ministry, and a lot of people don't get it, but it's very, very important. And I'm sure there are a lot of lives that have been changed over the years from even while you were not out on the road, but someone was listening to your music and their life was changed.
I think that's it really, I think for us, especially at this phase in our career, we spend a lot of time just running after success and trying to grow the ministry ultimately, but at the same time, trying to survive and be able to continue on. And so to be in a position now where we're able to be supported and able to make the music that we feel like God's called us to make, at the end of the day, honestly, if the music impacts people's lives and makes a difference, then that's the greatest reward that we really need. Awards are really cool and all. They're great for bragging and all that stuff, but bragging only lasts you so long. So really,
that's right.
The best thing that we could say is, anybody who says, hey man, I listened to your song and it helped me change my course, or it gave me strength to keep going for that day. That's the real reward right there for us.
Exactly.
And I think that we're so thankful for everything. And we've said this for years now, but we thought, if this all ends tomorrow, man, this has been awesome already. It's really an honor to be able to continue to make music and in the hopes that it can continue to impact someone's life, because that's the thing that really carries on.
Well, one of the things I did notice is your voice is as strong as ever. It's just that natural to you.
Thank you. That's a very awesome compliment. I mean, I definitely haven't quit singing. I just have a propensity to sing all day long. That's one thing. A funny thing about me, maybe an annoying thing for people who have to live with me. But for whatever reason, I love to sing and I sing all day. And so that's just something I never quit doing. And then also pursuing leading worship in the years that we've been touring less and all that kind of stuff. It just kind of keeps you up to pace. And then we used to be doing like 6 shows a week. And so it's a lot easier to maintain your health when you're not living that crazy lifestyle and having to leave it all out on the stage night after night after night after night, So it's definitely easier in a more laid back lifestyle to maintain your health and your rest and all that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of thing that promotes the health of your voice.
I'll be honest with you, the most impressive part about Dawn's vocals specifically on this record is that she was very very pregnant when she recorded this record. Like you said, she sounded stronger than ever. She killed it every single day.
Well, how far along were you?
I think I was, up to like 7.5.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 months at the end.
Yeah.
The baby actually came a month early, and I think we probably only wrapped up a week or two
that baby
before
out.
that. Maybe that was the problem.
No, she was pretty close within a month or just a few weeks.
Wow, that's crazy. This album is very heavy. It's very rock. It's a little bit different than the last album. Can you tell me a little bit why the direction?
I mean, that's pretty easy. I mean, our last record in Nova, when you do the same thing every single day, every single album, as an artist, you just kind of naturally come to a point where you're like, we just need to try something new. We need to stretch our legs a little bit. We need to see if it's possible for us to delve into deeper waters, so to speak. But in coming back to this record, when you've done something so long, you know where you're comfortable at. You know who you are. You know what kind of artist you are. And you know who your fans are. Yeah, you know all of those things. So it wasn't really that difficult of a turn for us to take going back to our rock roots, because that's what we've done for the last 20 years. So it was a very, very fun record to make. And we used a lot of those elements that we did in Nova on this record.
Yeah, I did hear a little electronic to it.
So it was fun. Yeah, it was great. And working with Josiah, I mean, everybody sees Josiah as a tough guitar player from Disciple, but he is a very well-rounded musician. When you give a reference of something that you are going for, he knows exactly what you're talking about.
Backstage with Mothership returns after this.
Miller Express LLC is a Solid Rock Radio business ministry partner specializing in delivery, setup, and relocation of storage buildings. More info by calling 803-300-7594.
Everybody is always asking me what are people's favorite road snacks, because they want to bring some too. So if someone calls me and says, hey, what does Fireflight like to eat? What would I tell them?
You first, Dawn.
Man, it's a long time since I thought about road snacks. I think the thing that I miss the most from the road is one time someone brought us a box of Spark. It's like it's kind of
like a natural energy thing.
Yeah, it's like crystal light. It's like these crystal light packet kind of things you put in your water bottle, and they've got a lot of vitamins in it. They have caffeine in them.
Ooh. Well, where do you get that?
Like I think it's called Advocare is the name of this, and I think you have to like know somebody who sells Advocare kind of thing.
Yeah, pre-show delight. Yeah.
They brought us a box of these things called Spark, and so they taste like fruit punch or something like that. So we all started trying them, and they make you feel great because they've got caffeine in them. So suddenly you have this energy. So we were all road weary and all that stuff. So we would all like, okay, we're gonna spark it up, and everybody grab one of these little vitamin things and put it in their water, and we'd stand around and have a spark. And I do miss that because that was a lot of fun.
Very
whole
necessary
new meaning to the word Fireflight, right?
Yeah, very necessary when you're about 4 or 5 weeks into a tour. You need something. And those Monster energy drinks and those things are terrible for you. Those things will kill you. So, yeah, we needed something.
Yeah, something to give you the will to keep fighting.
Well, what about you, Glenn? What's one of your favorite things?
Well, I mean, anything Reese's for me, but Mike and Ike's. We made a vlog long time ago. This is dating us. I mean, I think maybe MySpace was the thing. You know, we posted a video of Justin and I asking people, and this is way back in the Van days, probably on our first record. We liked Mike and Ike's to bring Mike and Ike's to shows. And I do believe for the next 10 years, we were getting Mike and Ike's, people bringing Mike and Ike's to us at shows. So much that the company sent us a giant box of every type of Mike and Ike, the hot tamales, the berries, the fruit thing, the whole kit and caboodle. So Mike and Ike will forever have a place in my heart as far as road snacks go, just because of that. The interaction with fans and people bringing them to the shows was always pretty cool. I can still pound some Mike and Ike's. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. There's the answer right there. All righty. Anybody else in the band that has a favorite snack?
Anything chocolate for Wendy. Justin is pretty keen on peanut butter.
Yeah, he likes Nutty Buddies, the chocolate and the peanut butter layer with the wafer cookie thing.
Wow.
I think everybody kind of likes those. So.
Okay, now I'm hungry.
And if he can't do that, he will just get a spoonful of peanut butter. And that will be it.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Y'all going to be doing anything like a live stream?
I think we're just kind of like everybody else. We're still just trying to get a feel for what is going on, what all the possibilities are. As far as full blown out tour, that kind of thing, probably not anytime in the near future, just because we're all running in such different directions. Putting together and writing for a record is one thing. Getting everybody with full on families and all that, everybody back on a bus and back out on the road is an entirely different thing. But for now, we're planning on making some content around and about the record, and just kind of continuing to not promote per se, but just to kind of let people in on the story a little bit deeper as far as the record is concerned, and just kind of let people into our world a little bit more. Because we have been a little bit absent in the last 5 years. So we definitely want to kind of pick that up as much as we can, with also trying to shoulder families and careers and all that kind of stuff as well.
Social media's changed a lot since back then.
For sure.
Yeah.
For better and worse.
Yeah, exactly. You've got merch.
Yeah, if you're interested in merch or the new record, you can definitely go to our website, fireflightrock.com. If you just want to reach out to us and just say hey or have a question, absolutely can hit us up on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Fireflight Rock as well. And then the Rockfest Records website has the new record and some merch and stuff there as well. Again, we've always welcomed conversation. We've always welcomed people just talking to people online and staying in touch. We don't really want that to change, even though we aren't out there on a nightly basis. We definitely miss the fans. We definitely miss being out there on the road. All that to say, our lack of being out there on the road doesn't mean that we don't miss it, and doesn't mean that we don't still care about people that are out there. It's just a different time of life and in our journey for us right now. But we still love making music and recording music and playing music. So maybe sometime in the future. But as for right now, if anybody still wants to stay in contact, more than happy to welcome those conversations for sure.
Well, we appreciate you and appreciate all you've done. And the older music holds up just as well as the new music. You've left a legacy.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be able to look back on a career and just know that fans like you and people like you that support ministries and support bands. Sometimes we're just a bunch of knuckleheads out there in a bus just trying to play some rock and roll music, and we have no idea what we're doing. And we need people that can speak into us and hold us up and help us out when we need help. And we've definitely had our share of people like that through the years. So just being able to look back on a career like what we've had and just know that there's been a lot of people that have stood in the gap for us is very, very, very humbling for us.
Awesome. Well, any parting words from either one of you to the fans?
I just want to encourage everybody, let them know how this is a really difficult time, I think, for the whole world, and especially here in the United States. One of the only things we have to hold on to is that, we're all in this together, and God is still God and seated on the throne, and we can keep counting on Him. Ultimately, we have God's strength. He never changes. We have to hold on to our faith and hold on to each other and really be the love that God wants us. So there's never a better opportunity to love others than when times are hard. And so this is a great opportunity, I think, for the church across the whole world at this time to really be the light of God on earth. It's an invitation, when people are suffering, it's an invitation for us to come and walk in love. So we just pray that they'll be encouraged, and if they're facing difficult circumstances right now, that, we're thinking of them, we're praying for them, and we hope that they find strength in the music that we've created and those of others as well, and know that, if they find strength in it, it's because God put it there for them, with them in mind.
Amen. Any parting words, Glenn?
If we can all just make a really concerted effort to love on each other, whether or not we agree, we don't have to agree, but we are called to love, especially if we're followers of Christ. We are called to love, and we don't have to agree. We don't have to understand. Conversation, just getting to know people is so huge. You're not really going to be able to understand somebody's point of view unless you have a conversation with somebody. And that's when somebody becomes a real person to you. Don't be afraid of conversations. It doesn't mean you have to change your point of view. It just means sometimes you'll be able to walk away from conversations with a better understanding of why someone feels that way, why they think that way. It will give you a bigger capacity to love that person despite of disagreements. And I think, man, if the church, if we can just get back to that point of that Christ-like love, I feel like that would be so huge. I know it would be huge.
I agree.
Yeah. And it really does need to start with us. It needs to stop being on social media, and it needs to start being in person and talking to people one-on-one, and really sitting down, having coffee with someone that that you may or may not disagree with, or you feel or you think differently. Just conversations can go a long way to bridging the gaps that we're seeing in society right now. That's been my family's prayer, Wendy and I's prayer, for a better part of this past year is, even through the pandemic, that's caused so much decisiveness, obviously politics, all of the stuff that we're seeing now. That's why he came. That's why we have the gift of salvation. If we can do that, it would go a long way.
Amen. I certainly appreciate your time and a chance to get to know you guys a little better.
I know your name out there, in the industry. I know that you do a good job of taking care of people. I know you do just wonderful things. People speak very, very highly of you out there in the rock and roll world, so to speak. Thank you so much. I wish we had a Cindy Blankenship when we were coming up in the Van days to take care of us. But we had others, so we understand when somebody like yourself is able to do what you do.
It always has people in place.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk with you again soon. Hopefully I'll see you on the road.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Take care. Good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening tonight. Stay tuned for more great music all night long. Don't forget to check out my I'm with Mothership page on Facebook and my blog on solidrockradio.org for links to my guests' social accounts. This show will be replayed at 4 a.m. Eastern Time and will be added to the Solid Rock Radio website, archive, and SoundCloud. I pray you have a wonderful week, and remember to be kind to one another.